Well, we do have a big update on the Rust movie shooting. The family of Halyna Hutchins filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Alec Baldwin and the producers of the movie. The suit lists lapses in safety on the set that they claim led to her death. Lawyers for the family also released a CG video reenactment of the shooting, and a warning to our viewers: what you are about to see is graphic. The video shows the gun and ammo and the difference between a live round and a typical dummy round. It also shows Baldwin sitting in a pew 4 feet from members of the crew, drawing the gun and shooting Halyna and the movie's director. Now, lawyers for Alec Baldwin and fellow producers did respond, telling Deadline, quote, "Any claim that Alec was reckless is entirely false." All right, Jeff, what do you think of the reenactment video and of the lawsuit in general?
Yeah, there's a couple things here. The reenactment video I don't like, right? Because it's showing one person's sides. Even if it's accurate, I don't like the road where this leads to, right? Because if you're a defense attorney, you start putting together videos, they show his face in detail, and then you start showing how the other people act. If a police officer accidentally shoots into a house, then you show those people doing drugs and half naked and doing things they shouldn't do. Now you're shifting the narrative because someone is seeing this video and they think this is live video of what happened. I'm against this, but I understand their point. Going back to the lawsuit itself, I feel like Alec Baldwin is still not at fault. He pulled that hammer back. Yes, he did, but the chain of events leading up to that moment, I think there's a lot of other people to blame. But overseeing the movie as a whole, as an executive producer, I think he has more chance of getting blamed for that than actually pulling the trigger himself.
Well, no hard thing here to understand. I completely disagree with you, and I'll tell you why. I think a defense attorney can use anything they want that's accurate and measured. So they knew how far away Halyna was. They knew how far the camera was. They actually put a part of the video with Alec Baldwin's face on it, if you can see, with the CG, so that the jurors or the judge can actually see him and really land that it was he. There's no problem with showing what the defense attorneys feel happened in a reenactment. If I was someone who objects, perhaps, but that's just showing a graph.
I think
that's showing blood spatter. That's showing it's just evolved into a technologically advanced video.
But we've seen this kind of technology before, and this is why it's interesting. I lean toward Jeff on his first point. When we start talking about this kind of technology, I actually watched this when remember Oscar Pistorius, the guy that shot through the door?
The Blade Runner, yeah.
Yes, they used this exact same technology in his case, but it wasn't his face and it wasn't her. It was like kind of like almost mannequin, faceless bodies. And I think when you do put Alec Baldwin with his face, we're human beings. You are now putting a face to this.
But it was Alec Baldwin.
I understand, but when we're talking about either just evidence or we're talking about manipulating the mind, the hat on.
Well, let's put the manipulation aside and let's look. For me, let me start with this. I don't think, obviously, there's any malice involved.
Right.
Okay, so I'm going to say that loud and clear. However, I always like to look at the backstory. I like to look at the history. If you look at the history of that set, you see emails and lists of concerns from other crew members from day one saying they're cutting corners. There's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of negligence. And a lot of this was brought up to the producers, Alec Baldwin being one of them. So if there was already a culture of negligence, in my opinion, Alec and the producers, being a producer, you're responsible of what happens on that set. You're responsible of that culture. And even given in that scene, Alec Baldwin was not supposed to pull the trigger. If you look at the scene, if you look at the script, he did that, I don't know, as an impulse thing.
He pulls the hammer. He never touched the trigger, just to be clear. But the hammer's on the back.
Right.
So he pulled the hammer, not the trigger.
But he wasn't supposed to do either. It was supposed to be a direct shot of him holding the gun. So looking at all these dots being connected of negligence, chaos, I think, unfortunately, even though malice wasn't involved, if someone's going to take the blame, it's going to be the producer, and it's going to be someone that's ignored all of these safety protocols.
People walked off the set hours before this happened because of gun safety issues, and then he wasn't supposed to pull or touch the trigger, and he does. So as a producer and as the person holding the weapon,
again, doesn't touch the trigger.
I said holding the.
But it doesn't
touch the trigger.
He wasn't supposed to touch any part of it, according to the
trigger and a hammer is different. Thank you for clarifying.
Yes, you have to say that, because if I'm an actor and I'm just running through my lines and I know that there's live rounds around, I'm like, I'm not going to pull this trigger, but for my own mind, I might just be like, bang, pull the thing back. And there's a big difference.
I completely agree.
This is my issue. Oh, go ahead.
Let's just get to the second beat really quickly, because I want to hear your points of view on this. Alec Baldwin has personally responded to the lawsuit. So this is what he did. He posted to Instagram a few hours after being named in the suit. It says, everything is going to be all right. That's what he wrote. Everything is going to be all right. Or that was what he posted. Is everything going to be all right in your opinion?
It can't be, because a child is without his mother.
Right.
Husband is without his wife. And everybody on that set, their lives are forever changed. So let's start there. No, nothing is all right. The issue that I'm seeing here is that how many times have we said Alec Baldwin just in this segment? It's the same thing with the Travis Scott thing. When we talk about Travis Scott or we talk about Alec Baldwin,
disagree.
we let everybody off the hook. There are people that are supposed. There were violations in terms of set handling, in terms of live ammunition.
But that's apples and oranges, Al. Travis Scott was on stage. This guy held the gun.
But
there's such a difference
we only talk about Travis Scott and we only talk about Alec Baldwin, and we neglect to talk about the steps that led up to these
let's
tragic
talk about the steps. What about the fact that they were supposed to have training and then they never did training? This is what I'm talking about. According to
this is the bigger story.
Right, a lot of the people on the set, a lot of people on the set wanted to do that training. Now, when they also say that there was corners cut, was that cut because they didn't want to spend the additional money? Well, look at it, cost somebody their life. So again, no malice involved, but somebody lost their life. Unfortunately, someone's going to have to pay for that.
And
There's
the husband,
consequences for that.
And the husband is suing the armor, the other people, the production company.
They just don't have a name.
Correct. I cannot enforce enough that whether or not he touched he cocked it, whatever. If that wasn't in the script, that is a great case for a wrongful death if he is holding that weapon and carelessly touches it incorrectly. As the producer, it's double that. But I think the person holding the weapon is in real trouble.
There shouldn't even been live rounds on that set.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
It's an unfortunate tragedy all around. Believe me, my heart breaks for especially that family, but even the Alec Baldwins, the producers, everybody. Nobody wanted this to happen.
Yeah.